Welcome to War Games, episode number 19. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You already know what the deal is. And welcome to the best review show for AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. We had just right now, as of this recording, got done with AEW's All Out. It's such an amazing show, and I'll maybe do a review about it later on down the line. But we are here to review AEW Dynamite, which happened to be on a Wednesday this time, so we all kind of know who won the Wednesday Night Wars, and WWE NXT's Super Tuesday. I believe this is the second occurrence of Super Tuesday, so it's kind of cool to see that happening. And you know what? Enough of the preliminaries. Let's get on with the picks, starting with WWE's NXT's Super Tuesday 2. So first, at my number 3 pick for WWE's NXT is going to be the very unique match of Bronson Reed taking on Timothy Thatcher. Now, a couple weeks prior, Bronson Reed had gone into a little issue with one Austin Theory, who made his return to NXT after a little bit of hiatus from the main roster. And this was interesting because this was a match not really kind of your average type of match. I think that this was a great display of two very different styles of professional wrestling. You know, you have Bronson Reed, who was more of the big man, but a big man that could move like a cruiserweight, versus Timothy Thatcher, who's more of a ground and pound, kind of feet on the mat type of wrestling individual. So it was very interesting to see how these two styles were going to collide. I think we saw both men absolutely killed it on both ends of the spectrum, but in the end of the day, Timothy Thatcher does come out with the victory. And you know what? I think that it was a great match, but I think this kind of set the tone for Bronson Reed and Austin Theory to create a rivalry, and I'm excited to see how that goes. But I think I'm going to give this match I'm going to say a 3 out of 4 stars. I think that this was a great way to display two different individuals, and especially with the vignettes that we've been having with Timothy Thatcher and the training process, and kind of establishing a new rivalry. I think they worked out perfectly, and it was a great match. So 3 out of 4 stars, pretty solid, but that's why it's my number 3 pick. At my number 2 pick for NXT is going to be a very stacked 6-man tag team match between Legado del Fantasma, which includes the NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza, versus a very unique tag team of, 6-man tag team of Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango, otherwise known as Breezango. Now, all 6 of these individuals have had issues within the past several weeks. I think this is kind of revolving around a potential, I believe, rematch for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship between Isaiah Swerve Scott and Santos Escobar. But you know what? I think that this was a great, I think this actually started the show, and this was such a great opener. There was so much that was going on. You had Tyler Breeze doing flips. You had so much, offense from Legado del Fantasma. I mean, Raul Mendoza, who was actually a part of the Cruiserweight Classic back in 2016, did an amazing job, as well as Joaquin Famous. For those who don't know, was actually DJZ back in TNA. And it was awesome. You saw so much offense from both teams. However, in the end, Tyler Breeze and company, Isaiah Swerve Scott was involved in that as well, got the victory. And it was I believe it was a very dominant victory, because this really helped Isaiah Swerve Scott really establish himself as a true contender for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and I absolutely loved it. So with this said, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 stars. 4 out of 4 stars right there. I think that both teams absolutely killed it, and it made for great television. At my number 1 pick is going to be the most anticipated championship match in history, and that is going to be the Fatal 4-Way 60-minute Iron Man match. And this was interesting to say the least, because you had 4 former NXT champions, and this was so great. I mean, when they announced this last week, it was truly phenomenal. Not just because my hero is in it, but it was just so cool to see all these different factors. So obviously at the start of the match, Johnny Gargano got the first fall after, I believe he pinned Adam, I believe he did pin Adam Cole, but then eventually all the other participants with Finn, Johnny, Finn, Johnny already got the first fall. Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole all got the falls on themselves. But it was not until the end, which very intrigued me, and that was when Finn Balor hit the coup de grace and get the victory on, I believe it was Tommaso Ciampa that got the second fall. But in the very last moments, Adam Cole gets the last minute victory, and then it ends up tied, and they eventually had William Regal came out and announced that there was going to be a sudden death on this upcoming episode of NXT. So with this said, I'm going to say that this match was absolutely beautiful, absolutely phenomenal, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 stars. I think that this truly was a great main event. Although we didn't have a determined winner, it's cool. We're going to see Adam Cole versus Finn Balor, which I think Finn Balor is going to take the victory and become a 2-time NXT champion, and I can't wait for that championship reign to happen again. I really don't see it being Cole, knowing that he had a dominant reign, the most longest reigning champion in NXT history, and I just really don't see that happening again. So I'm really excited to see what this goes. And with this said, I'm going to give NXT the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give it a grade. I think that it really dominated, especially on another Tuesday, which I think at this point I've heard some rumors that this is going to be a long time thing. So really happy of how everything went, and I was really ecstatic about the show. And now for my picks to AEW Dynamite. Now AEW's back on Wednesday, so we already kind of know who won the Wednesday Night Wars, like I mentioned before. But enough of this, let me get into the picks. At my number 3 pick is going to be a very unique tag team of Santana and Ortiz, otherwise known as LAX, Inner Circle, whatever you like to call them, versus best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent. Now this has been a rivalry that has been brewing for some time with Santana and Ortiz, kind of very aggressively spray painting, I believe it was Trent's mom's car, and it all leads up to this. And you know what? It was a great match. I think that, you saw some offense from best friends. I think that, they really put up a great fight. But, at the end of the day, LAX dominated. And at the end, LAX gets the victory. I think that this was a great win for LAX. And I think that they should be taken more seriously as a tag team, especially in a very stacked tag team division. I'm going to give this match a 3.5 out of 4 stars. I think that, it was great, but I could have gotten more. I think I could have, there could have been more to be put out there, especially between two great tag teams. But I absolutely loved it. The story that was being told was absolutely phenomenal. And my number 2 pick is going to be a very unique singles match between Chris Jericho and the bad boy, Joey Janela. And so, by the way, Joey, if you're watching this, please unblock me on Twitter. But this match right here was kind of a tune-up match towards the Mimosa Mayhem match, and Joey Janela, don't get me wrong, he is a phenomenal competitor. What he has been doing with Sonny Kiss and tag team competition is absolutely amazing. But this is kind of stepping out of Joey Janela's zone, I think, a little bit. We haven't really seen him in singles competition for quite some time. I think the last time, if I remember correctly, was during the whole rivalry with Kip Sapien over Penelope Ford. So this was great. I think that Joey Janela took took Chris Jericho to the limit. But you know what? At the end of the day, Chris Jericho does hit the Judas effect very, very, very brutally, and I believe he also does a code breaker from midair and gets the victory. And Orange Cassidy does what he does best and defends. I believe he was supposed to be at ringside tonight, and he was. I'm going to give this match a 3.5 out of 4 stars as well. I think that it was a very great match, and it made both men look good. And it kept the story going of this Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho rivalry. And finally, my number 1 pick is going to be a match that was kind of funny, but it was also entertaining as well, and that's going to be the tune-up match, as Jon Moxley had put it, the AEW World Champion, between Jon Moxley, the AEW Champion, and Mark Sterling, who was also known as MJF's lawyer. So this is technically, if we're putting it in technical terms, Mark Sterling's first wrestling match. But he did pretty solid. I think that, although it was a full-out slugfest, obviously you can see with the footage right here, it was cool. It was cool to see, very entertaining. But at the end of the match was really interesting, and that was when Wardlow came out, absolutely destroyed Moxley, and MJF, doing what he does best, and just trying to get into the mind of Jon Moxley, and he even made him bleed, and even bit him, which that was like chill. But yeah, absolutely entertaining main event. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 4 stars as well. I don't think that it was really 4-star material or 5-star material or 6-star material, but I mean, it was entertaining for it. And with this said, I'm going to give AEW Dynamite an A-. I think that NXT had won in terms of War Games this week. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of War Games. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You already know what the deal is. And until we meet again, I will see you guys in the next episode of War Games. Bye. Boom.